Namaste, welcome back to our channel Ayurveda 360. So in continuation with the induction program series for BMS freshers, we are in session number 3. In the first two sessions, we have seen the curriculum design as per the professional BMS course, as well as the importance of Sanskrit language in understanding Ayurveda. So if you have not watched them, kindly watch them as well. In this session, we are going to see a very important, you can say, direct entry into the subject. So before entering any kind of field, if you know the basic background for that, then you will be in a better position to understand that particular science, may it be medicine or may it be any other field. And in today's context, since you are entering into an Ayurveda course, you are supposed to know how exactly the principles of Ayurveda developed, which is entirely, you can say, different from what you have learned in contemporary science. So whatever +1, +2 and up to 10th knowledge you are having, they may not directly help you to understand this. Maybe a slight hint is obtained in certain Indian literature, but otherwise, as such, the background towards the principles of Ayurveda is not taught in any of the lower classes. So actually the video what I am going to show today is a previous video where we have covered the development of Tridosha Siddhanta from Panchamhabhoota-Siddhanta. So basically two things are there. One is called as Panchamhabhoota. You might have heard it and you know them very well. But how exactly that Panchamhabhoota theory came into the Ayurveda, and later, of course, it was simplified in the form of Tridosha Siddhanta. You might have heard people speaking Vata, Pitta and Kapha. So these are common words by any Ayurveda physician, or even the common public are starting to use these terms. So you also would have used in your younger ages. So what are these and how these developed is the important point what we are going to discuss now. Watch this video till the end, and any query regarding that you can put in the comment box. And one thing, if you cannot understand the video exactly what it means, just take an idea from this video and ultimately after 2 or 3 months come back, then see the video, then you'll be in a better position to understand. Being an Ayurveda Vaidya or an Ayurveda student, initially you should know this topic. Then only the concept of dosha in the application part of swastha, that is maintenance of the health, or in the pathological aspect in diagnosing a disease, and also in chikitsa, that is in treatment purpose, you will be able to get better success. So basically, when our acharya, or you can say the ancient people used to live, when they used to live, the difference between today's time and their time was the way how they used to see the nature. They used to live in the midst of the nature, whereas we are actually destroying the nature and we are trying to live in those empty places. Since they were living in the midst of the nature in harmony, that is very much important, in harmony. So they used to take from the nature and give it back to the nature. In harmony, they used to survive. During this process, many people would have got injured, many people would have developed certain disease, and they also might have got cured. In the initial days, how did they actually find the food? That is through different trees, different, you can say, the naturally grown items. They used to depend on that, and even the wild animals and even the other animals as a carnivorous. So human used to be a carnivorous as well as a herbivorous animal. So he was basically an animal initially. So later, when they used to live in this way, certain of the fruits they might have consumed and died. That is because of the poisonous effect in those drugs. So in this way, gradually, they might have understood that these are the certain things which we need to consume. These are the things which we should not consume. In the same way, whenever they developed a disease, they might have seen that these are the drugs what we need to use during this kind of pathology. These are the drugs which we should not consume. So was that possible? Because they survived so many years, definitely there would have been certain technique to survive. The first and the prime information which you should know is the intellectual capacity of our ancestors. Their intellectual capacity is nowhere in comparison to today's intellectual capacity. We are nowhere near them. The intellectual ability of theirs to observe the nature made them to understand that their used to be certain things which are hard in nature, which are heavy in nature, which may be rough and which has heavy weight, and gradually they were put under a particular group of drugs called as the ones which are having Prithvi Mahabhuta Pradhana. Same way, they have understood that there are certain things in the atmosphere, in the nature, which are liquid in nature, which are flowing, which are light in nature. So they clubbed them under a particular topic called as, or in a particular group of drugs called as the Jala Mahabhuta. There were certain things like which were difficult to be caught, and they could feel that. The passing of that could be felt, or the inhalation exhalation part was felt. So they kept that tattva as Vayu tattva. Similarly, the place where they are living, of course, it's an empty space, and the place where they are able to move. So these empty spaces around them were called together by a name called as Akasha. Similarly, the fire, the lightning, whatever they used to observe in the universe, and that tattva they kept the name as Agni. It was Tikshna, it was Ushna in nature. Jala, it was Guru, it was Saraguna Yukta, it was Snigdha. Similarly, there are other properties, but I have named a few of them. Prithvi is said to have more of Guru Guna, more of Katinatva, Sthira Guna. Similarly, Vayu is said to be Lagu, only Sparsha. We are not able to see that as such. Similarly, Akasha is said to be Apratigata. We are not able to catch the Akasha. So it is an empty space. So whatever thing they used to find, they would put it under one of these categories. Ultimately, these five were said to be the dominant things over the universe. These are the ones which are actually present in the universe. They were termed as Pancamahabhuta. Now the point of interest is when they started to observe themselves as a part of the nature. Of course, they had already accepted that they were part of the nature, and now they started to introspect their own bodies. They realized that just like the universe, we also have certain things in our body which are said to be heavy, which are sthira, which are stable, and which are, you can say, having particular property, like you can say the hardness. They were kept under the Prithvi Mahabhuta, like the bony prominences of our body, like the skull, just like the Prithvi Mahabhuta. Similarly, we have certain liquids flowing in our body. Now, those things were kept under Jala Mahabhuta, just like the blood, just like certain fluids, like the intracranial fluid, intra parts, whatever it could be. It could be the eyes, or like intraocular, like fluids, anything. The body as Jala Mahabhuta in us. Similarly, the body as Agni Tattva in the form of Jatra Agni, that is the digestive power. And also, skin is always having certain temperature. So in that way, they used to identify that the body also has Agni Tattva. Similarly, the inspiration, expiration, the movement of Vayu within the abdomen, passing of Vayu from the rectum, passing of the erectations, that is the Udgara through the mouth, everything were kept under the Vata, that is Vayu Mahabhuta. And ultimately, we have so much empty space in our body through which we are able to speak, we are able to take food, through which we are able to respire. So multiple openings in the body were kept under Akasha Mahabhuta. So now they find out, now they learned that whatever is there in the universe is there in the body. So this concept was later termed as Loka Purusha Samyata. Yata Brahmande Tata Pinde. Yata Pinde Tata Brahmande. So Yata Brahmande Tata Pinde. Brahmanda refers to the universe. Whatever is there in the universe, just like that. Yata Tata. Just like that in our body. Similarly, we have it in our body. Tata Pinde. Pinde refers to the body, individual body. So what it means is we are a part of the nature. We are not away from that. Now the next concept is, this was the first part, that is the Pancamahabhuta existing in the universe and the Pancamahabhuta existing in our body. So this point I think it is clear. Now the next point is, when they tried to analyze each and every dravya. Dravya in the sense it could be any object. It could be the stone, it could be the table or the wood, it could be the water, it could be, you can say, animal, anything like that. So they observed that each of the Mahabhuta is present in each of the dravya. Any object, it could be the chalk piece, it could be the duster, it could be the furniture in today's time, it could be the brick, anything. Any object they used to take, they analyzed and found that each of the object is also Panchabhautika, just like our body. But there could be predominancy of one or two. Like in a family, imagine there are 5 people and 1 or 2 people are working and they are able to manage that family. So just like that, 5 people are residing in a dravya, in an object. Those 5 people are nothing but the Panchamahabhuta. Maybe 1 or 2 are active, or you can say in dominance. That's why we are able to see certain things as Parthiva. When I say Parthiva, it means it has Prithvi predominancy. Maybe it has 80% of Prithvi, but the remaining 20%, it has the other 4 Mahabhuta. That's why when you break it, you get the sound. So you have empty spaces in between that. You may get certain fluid when you try to remove. So like that, each and every drug or object is having the constituency of all the 5 Mahabhuta, predominancy of 1 or 2. So in that way, the individual names can be called like Parthiva Dravya, Parthiva object, that is Jaliya object. It could be the Taijasa object, it could be the Akashiya object, or it could be the Vayaviya object. So in this way, all the Dravya were said to be Panchabhautika, including the human body. So now, 3 points I have covered. The universe is made up of Panchamahabhuta, our body is also Panchabhautika, and also the objects, anything in the universe is said to be Panchabhautika, but with the predominancy of 1, which is termed as Vyapadeshastu Bhuyasa in Ayurveda. The predominancy is seen, but internally it has all the other Mahabhuta as well. So, when these 3 points are clear, what they analyzed is, whatever is required for the body, I need to get from the nature. So, imagine I get a disease, or I am getting my food getting digested regularly. So, I need food now to balance the internal part, the internal organs and the tissues. So, when Prithvi Mahabhuta is reduced in the body, they used to get Prithvi Mahabhuta from the universe. When Jala Mahabhuta is less in the body, due to any cause, they used to take Jala Mahabhuta from the universe. Similarly, the Akasha Mahabhuta. Similarly, the Vayu Mahabhuta. Similarly, the Agni Mahabhuta. So, in this way, whatever is necessary for the body, that used to be supplemented from the universe. So that that particular part, tattva, increases in the body and ultimately the stability comes. Imagine you start developing vomiting. As soon as you vomit out, certain amount of fluid is lost from the body. You develop diarrhea, certain amount of fluid is lost from the body. You feel tired. Why? Because the fluid part is necessary for the body. Just at that time, they ask you to take water, maybe ORS mixed water, or at times they may put under IV drip. Ultimately, you are getting back that water content in the body and then you feel comfortable. So just like that, it applies for all the 5 Mahabhuta. You take food, it gets digested, and then you feel hungry again. So you need that food again. You need that Parthiva Dravya again. Otherwise, what happens? The internal metabolism is regularly removing the Mahabhuta from the body, utilizing the Mahabhuta from the body. That is why we need to eat, so that it gets balanced. So this principle is called as Samanya-Siddhanta. So Samanya, why it is Samanya? Because by taking the similar thing from the universe, I am able to maintain that tattva in the body. That is why Samanya. And opposite is also possible. When there is excessive water content in my body, maybe due to any disease, I am having swelling with water content, I can take an opposite drug. In the sense, I can take the drug which is having opposite properties to that of water. Instead of taking Guru, Drava, Saraguna Yukta Dravya, I may take Lagu, Agni Tattva Dravya, so that that watery content will be slightly reduced. Similarly, when Vayu is increased in the body, I may have to take certain thing which is having opposite property to that of Vayu. So this is called as Vishesha Siddhanta. Means, whenever a particular tattva is increased in the body abnormally high, that needs to be reduced. And how it is possible? By supplementing it with the opposite properties drug. Just like that. So imagine those 5 people in the home. So 3 people are not working, only 2 are working. And imagine the family gets a 6th baby. So now the unnecessary inclusion of that 6th baby should be contracted. How? He also should go to work. Then only it is possible for them to survive. So going against the usual rule, 3 people were actually resting. He should have also rested, but that would lead to increase in the burden of the family. That's why just take opposite of that usual action. So send him to work. So just like that, you take opposite drug into the body so that excessive tattva will be balanced. So it is just like a weighing machine. Whenever the body is losing certain of the tattva, that can be brought up by consuming the things which are there in the universe. Whenever the body tissues, or you can say the tattva goes up, that also need to be balanced by intake of the opposite property drugs. So one is called as Samanya-Siddhanta, other one is called as Vishesha Siddhanta. Ultimately, our aim is to balance the Panchamabhuta in the body. So I think this point is clear. It doesn't apply only to the physicians, even the surgeries. Whenever there is excess growth in the body, what you do is just remove that. Not necessary, Vishesha. Whenever there is a particular missing part in the body, you try to give that by donors, by taking from certain donor. That is Samanya. So this principle of Samanya Vishesha is not only applicable for a physician, even for a surgery it is applicable. Which is not there in the body, certain things bring it back from the universe, and which is not excessive, just cut it off. And ultimately that goes to the universe. So in that way the universe is also balanced. So ultimately we are in harmony with the nature, and by following Panchamabhuta Siddhanta we are able to maintain our body and live healthily. So the ancient Acharya, they used to observe the plants and other drugs what they could use as a medicine. They could have used everything as a medicine. Ayurveda doesn't restrict the medicine to a particular plant or a mineral drug. No. Anything in the universe can be converted into a medicine. It could be the urine of a particular animal. It could be the mineral drug found in extreme temperatures. It could be the Vishadravya. It could be the extreme poisonous drug which can be converted into a medicine. So many things. Anything in the universe can be taken as a medicine in Ayurveda. But ultimately, the processing should be such that the body doesn't get harmed. So in that way, Ayurveda gives medicines. So that is why you might have seen certain poisonous drugs, or you can say mineral drugs written in the prescription, or you can say in the content of your drug. But you need not worry, Ayurveda processes those drugs. That's why your body doesn't feel the harmful effect. Rather, it acts as a beneficial drug. So these plants, minerals, they used to be assist from Mahabhuta predominancy. They would say that this plant is having Agni Tattva Pradhanatva. This plant has Prithvi Tattva Mahabhutatva. The Prithvi Tattva predominancy. Like whenever they see Shatavari, Ashwagandha like drugs, they felt that they are Prithvi Mahabhuta Pradhana Dravya. That's why they would give them for regaining of body weight, certain things like that. Whenever a person loses his appetite, they used to give drugs like Chitraka, because Chitraka is having the Agni predominancy. Just like that, certain drugs are having Vayu Pradhana, certain drugs are having Akasha Pradhana, certain drugs are having Drava Pradhana or Jala Pradhana. So they used to apply this Panchamabhuta Siddhanta and plan Samanya Vishesha Siddhanta Chikitsa. As the days progressed, this is the actual Ayurveda, what we study or what we know. As the days progressed, this concept was found difficult. That is why we don't have that much information in relation to drug and its Panchamabhuta constancy. So in the midst of this gradual change in the study method, or you can say the adoption of the study method, Acharyas found that Vata, that is Vayu and Akasha, have certain similarities in their properties. Similarly, Jala and Prithvi have certain properties in common. So because of this reason, they merged Akasha and Vayu and called it by the name of Vata. So that is known as Vata dosha. Similarly, Prithvi and Ap Tattva or Mahabhuta were combined and called by a name called as Kapha dosha. And Agni Tattva is kept as it is, but in the name of Pitta dosha. So basically, Tridosha are nothing but a simplified version of Panchamabhuta. Instead of having 5 in number and planning my Samanya Vishesha Siddhanta therapy, if I have 3 in number and if I have to plan Samanya Vishesha Siddhanta, the second option is easier for me and it is more convenient for me. So the ultimate conclusion is, when I tell Vata Prakopa or Vata Vriddhi, what it means is either Vayu or Akasha, or you can say the combination of Vayu and Akasha Mahabhuta in the body is in Vriddhavastha. When I say Kapha Kshaya Avastha, what I mean is the Prithvi Mahabhuta and Jala Mahabhuta in the body is in Kshaya Avastha. So when I say Pitta Vriddhi, I mean that Agni Tattva is in Vriddhavastha. So in terminologies, what we are using, we are actually meaning the Panchamabhuta theory. We tell Vata, it could be Vayu and Akasha. We tell Kapha, it could be Prithvi and Jala. We tell Pitta, it is nothing but the Agni. So Tridosha Siddhanta is nothing but, in simple terms, a modified or simplified version of the Panchamabhuta theory. Now everything else is same. That is Samanya Vishesha Siddhanta as per Tridosha, just like Panchamabhuta. And whatever drugs we are having in Ayurveda, we have the information in relation to Tridosha Haratva, Tridosha Prakopatva. Which drug is Vatahara, which drug is Vatakara, which drug is Pittakara, which drug is Pittahara, which drug is Kafakara, which drug is Kafahara. So in this way, whatever new drug we are finding, we are putting them under these terminologies. And even the Acharya have already recorded so many plants and other mineral drugs under these headlines. So now we know what is Vata Pitta Kapha, and we know the drugs which are helpful in Vata Pitta Kapha, Vriddhi and Kshaya Avastha. And we know the patients, we know how to examine them and analyze Vata Pitta Kapha, Vriddhi or Kshaya. And ultimately combine these things, you will get the treatment modality and ultimately the person's Dhatu Samya Avastha, the maintenance of the body in its normalcy, can be managed or can be done. So this was the video for today. How actually the Tridosha Siddhanta might have come into existence. It is nothing but a derived version of Panchamabhuta. So I hope now you have a better idea of what these Tridosha could be. This is a pure hypothesis based on the Panchamabhuta Siddhanta. That is why we are not able to directly show it in a laboratory. Someone asks you, show me Vata dosha in the laboratory. It is not possible. I can show through my actions, through the physiology and pathology or chikitsa. But anatomically, I cannot show this is the Vata, because Vata is a huge topic. It consists of Vayu and Akasha Mahabhuta. So now if you want to search Vayu and Akasha in the body, you will get plenty of things. That is why the Ayurveda concepts are said to be holistic in nature, because we think from natural point of view, nature's point of view, rather than synthetic or genetic point of view. So this video must have helped you regarding the basics of Tridosha or the origin. With this information in your mind, definitely you will be able to understand any of the topic of Ayurveda in relation to Vata, Pitta, Kapha or Tridosha. So if you like our content, kindly like, share and subscribe to our channel. Kindly press the notification bell there, because whenever we upload a video, you will get the notification and you can watch the video as soon as it is uploaded. Please tell your other Ayurveda loving friends, colleagues and the needy people in relation to the field of Ayurveda about Ayurveda 360 channel, and let them also like, share and subscribe. And until next time, myself Dr. NANDEESH J, thank you.